Are you feeling down? Like you just can't do it today? I can see your frown, but it's all gonna be okay. So believe in yourself, there's no giving up. The power's inside, yeah, that's what's up. It's the kick in the pants, you need it. The song will open up your eyes. It's the feeling you can't be defeated. It's an 80s song with synthy vibes, and you know it's super upbeat, upbeat. It's time to get upbeat, upbeat. The groove is sounding upbeat, upbeat. By now you're feeling upbeat, upbeat. It's an upbeat, inspirational song about life.
Hello, and welcome to whatever the fuck this is. Not really real and known, but Unreal and super known, I guess, is what we're calling it. Something along those lines. We have been on a hiatus again after going on a hiatus, this time a little shorter. So, like I said, tradition is after we go on a hiatus, we do some wacky, random, new thing. And this is kind of going to be in line with our solo review, except this time, we're going to be doing a solo review for like 8 movies. So, it's been a weird past couple of months. It's been a weird summer, not gonna lie. It's been a weird summer for movies. We've had a lot of blockbusters coming out, and I feel like not a lot of people are talking about them in the way that they should be. Sorry, Kyle is wrapping himself.
I'm so cold
around his little blanket. He looks like he's... You look like a cross between homeless or like at the movies when like the cops save someone, they put the little blanket around them. Anyway, we're going to be breaking down, I think I'm going to call this the big bad blockbuster breakdown.
Oh, a slip there.
A little bit. Because we're going to be just doing little short, and sometimes not too short reviews of most of the blockbusters that have come out this summer. And for me, summer kind of starts, I'm not counting like April or like March or something, because technically like you got your Pacific Rims and like your Rampages that came out. But those movies are ultimately, I don't know, I didn't see them. So we're not talking about them. But we're talking about the movies I did see, and then I forced Kyle to watch, which is probably a conversation on its own, because I was able to watch these movies in theaters as they were coming out over the span of like 4 months. Kyle, on the other hand, had to watch them. How'd you have to watch them?
I just kind of watched like 6 of them in a row. Just how I do.
Nice.
You remember that one time I watched movies for 12 hours straight and then they were all terrible?
Yeah, that was
it's kind of like that.
I'm glad we were able to recreate that magic. So, yeah, we're going to kind of go vaguely starting from like kind of the most recent movies to come out and then kind of working backwards. So starting off, we have actually Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which Kyle didn't see.
It's the only one I didn't see.
But I did, and it's not great. I actually have been a pretty big fan of... Do you know about the Teen Titans Go series?
I mean, I know it exists.
Okay, do you know anything kind of about it? Do you at least know the meme about it? Okay, no.
No?
The meme of Teen Titans Go... So, for anyone who doesn't know, I don't know why you would, but Teen Titans Go is essentially kind of a spin-off, I guess, of the animated series Teen Titans, which I'm sure you've seen Teen Titans,
yeah.
Right? So Teen Titans, that really good superhero show from like 10 years ago. Teen Titans Go is much more of like a kind of like a comedy show for like really kind of like little kids. It's a lot more kind of along the lines of like all the shows that people like don't watch on like Nickelodeon or something, like fucking Sanjay and Craig or fucking...
Oh, dude, I love Sanjay and Craig.
Like shit like that. So it's kind of a little more kid focused. It shouldn't be considered like a sequel or even really a true spin-off to the show because it's very different. But the one thing...
This room's like a fucking echo chamber.
Yeah, this room is just
really weird.
Echo.
Like
echo.
you're already loud and then it like reverberates and it comes back like twice as
loud. Whoa.
It's something.
The thing about Teen Titans Go is that everyone is really, really mad at it because everyone's like, that's not Teen Titans! Ah! And they get really mad. And also the thing about Teen Titans Go is that Cartoon Network syndicates Teen Titans Go to all hell.
Yeah.
So like...
They're like... At 7 p.m., there's an Uncle Grandpa. And then, literally until the next episode of Uncle Grandpa's released, it's Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, so pretty much that's A lot of people are upset about that. I honestly think it's kind of funny. And I actually have watched a lot of the show, and it's not the most funny thing in the world, but there are actually a lot of pretty good jokes, and there are actually a lot of, like, pretty good, like, references to, like, other comics and stuff. And the thing I really appreciate about the show, and I think I've said this maybe on the podcast before, I've at least said this in real life, is that it is the original voice cast of Teen Titans. So essentially what Teen Titans Go is, and, like, I've heard, like, Tara Strong or other people on the show talk about it, it's them showing up for, like, a morning, improvising and fucking around, and then getting paid. Like, that's essentially their role on the show. So I can respect that, of just, they're like, yeah, fuck it, we're gonna make all this money because we can. And because Teen Titans Go is so popular, they decided to make a movie out of it, a feature-length presentation that is theatrically released. And I went to see it. And it's not super, super funny, to be honest. It's kind of like, I think I described this, I think I would describe it best as, like, it's like watching a handful of episodes on TV. Like, it's kind of a mixed bag. There are, like, some jokes in some episodes that are pretty funny, but overall it's not the funniest. It's not really bad, and honestly, I can respect it because this is, like, the first, like, cell-drawn 2D animated movie that's been theatrically released, and, like, what even was the last one?
Yeah.
Like, Princess and the Frog? Like, I can't even think of something like the Curious George movie. Like, it's been a while since we've had, like, a theatrically released 2D movie. And the animation itself looks pretty good. Like, they didn't cheap out on the animation, so it's... And they still have the original voice cast, which is amazing, because, like, usually in animated movies, especially for kids, they just get celebrity voice actors. They get, like, fucking Nicolas Cage and fucking, I don't know, B.D. Wong or someone. And this movie actually does have Nicolas Cage and maybe B.D. Wong, and they actually have a lot of, like, celebrity voice cameos. But they keep the original cast. They do bring back Deathstroke, which I'm not sure if he was ever in Teen Titans Go. And they have him played by Will Arnett instead of Ron Perlman, who played him in Teen Titans, which low-key is one of Ron Perlman's best performances, just as Deathstroke. He's so fucking good at that. So it's a little bummer they didn't bring back Ron Perlman, but honestly, Ron Perlman's Deathstroke, I don't know how they could do that comedically. Yeah. Like, so, I mean, it makes sense. Will Arnett, of all people, like, I guess Will Arnett just is a voice actor now, because he doesn't really do any live-action stuff.
Happens.
I mean, it's just a little weird, because it is, like, he did Lego Batman already and all that, but he does a good job.
Yeah, Teen Titans is, like, it was, like, edgy before everything else was edgy.
The original show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Like it kind of, I feel like it weirdly started the DC edgy trend. I mean, I know the comics were always like, Batman's dark, but it's like, I don't know, it wasn't really like, it was weird to have just a, like, almost fully dramatic animated show that's marketed to, like, kids.
Because even with Batman the Animated Series, that was, like, on, like, prime time. That was, like, playing with, like, The Simpsons and stuff.
Right.
So, like, kids would watch it, but it was kind of marketed to at least, like, young adults. And with Teen Titans at that time, I guess Justice League was already kind of out. And Justice League's pretty serious also, but Justice League is almost more of, like, a melodrama, if anything.
Right.
And Teen Titans does have, some pretty dark subject matter, but I've always found Teen Titans kind of weird because it goes back and forth from doing really dark stuff to doing, like, really crazy over-the-top comedic stuff too. And I think I don't know, I really enjoyed the Teen Titans show, and, like, believe me, I started watching Teen Titans Go ready to hate it, because I love the Teen Titans show.
Like, they're ruining everything.
Yeah. But no, they already ruined everything when they made that fucking Young Justice piece of shit, which was fucking terrible.
Are you excited for the live action?
Oh, Teen Titans?
Yeah.
I'm kind of a little bit, yeah.
Oh my god, it looks so bad.
I know.
It looks like the Power Rangers movie and the Fantastic Four movie.
It does.
Had, like, a retarded baby. Like, it's just so not good in every way. It's the most, like, cliche, just
trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Like, we hate the subject matter. Like, that's for babies. This is real stuff.
Yeah.
I am kind of, and to be honest, and I really hate myself, I'm kind of considering getting the DC streaming service. Like, I'm kind of considering getting it. Because it's like $5. And to be honest, I kind of want to see this show. I kind of want to see the Doom Patrol show. And it's just, if it gives me access to every DC animated thing ever, that might be kind of worth it for me. So I am kind of considering it, and I'm not sure. I'm not pre-ordering it, that's for sure. But I'm kind of going to wait for it to come out, and if, like, I don't know, I might watch it, not going to lie. I might get it, so.
It's, I don't know, just based on the trailer, it seems like whoever made it has never interacted with any of the characters in the movie and has no idea what they're supposed to be like.
Yeah,
Because Raven's like some, like, scared little girl.
Yeah, she's not even, like,
understand how her powers work or
goth,
something.
really. She's
And
just like a homeless girl.
Yeah, it's just like, that doesn't make any...
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never considered Raven to be like an unconfident, like, I hate using my powers kind of person.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know, all the costuming looks really bad.
Yeah,
like,
it's not great.
I feel really bad because Starfire is played by a black woman and everyone's, like, hating on her because she's black. And it's like, no, her costume's just terrible.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not even, like, I see pictures of, like, her and then, like, of, like, dumb, sexy Starfire from, like, fucking Red Hood and the Outlaws, of, like, the parody of, like, do you know about that? Like, like, Starfire in the comics is essentially just a naked woman with, like, tape over her, like, nipples and, like, vag.
Perfect.
And it's just, like, I only care about fucking, but I hate everyone. They retconned that pretty quickly, but it is kind of a meme of, like, it's fucking bad.
Yeah.
And then everyone, like, shows that picture and then shows the fucking her. And it's like, what happened? Biggest downgrade in the world. It's like, first of all, I don't want Starfire to be that iteration of Starfire.
Yeah.
It's fine that she's a black woman. And honestly, it's not even her costume. Like, the Beast Boy costume looks really fucking bad. Honestly, the Robin costume doesn't even look that good. It looks just kind of dumb and, like, bulky. Like, I don't know.
It just looks bad. It looks like a fucking mess.
It looks like a fucking mess. I still kind of want to see it. I want to see how bad it is, though. I'm, like, not even, like, oh, I hope they make... Because there was a very small inkling of me being like, maybe this could be good. Like, maybe this is their street clothes, and it's supposed to, like, represent... It's supposed to be, like, they're doing, like, a tongue-in-cheek thing of, like, oh, it looks like their costumes. Maybe it'll be more like the actual Teen Titans series originally. It's not that at all. I don't also know why Teen Titans to take the darkest, grittiest... Fucking Robin kills 8 guys in an alley and says, fuck Batman. Why Teen Titans? Like, do at least, like, The Outsiders or something, if you want to do this whole, like, misfit, edgy teens with that's powers.
Just every DC product.
I know. Yeah.
The edgy team. I mean, it's just Suicide Squad.
It is.
It's just Suicide Squad,
to
but
be
with
honest,
the Teen Titans.
Suicide Squad looks like... Suicide Squad was at least, like, kind of self-aware. Not even self-aware, but it was, like, trying... Suicide Squad, at least, was trying to be fun. It didn't do it, and it wasn't fun. But Suicide Squad, at least, was, like, trying to, like, make dumb jokes and be, like, Guardians of the Galaxy and play fucking pop music every 10 seconds.
Right.
This is just, like... Not even ironically, just literally, like, isn't this so cool? Robin kills these people. And it's like, no, what?
It's like the head of, like, the DC movie, TV, whatever universe is like an 8-year-old who draws Sonic fanfiction on DeviantArt.
I think it was Jeff Johns for a long time. At least he was creative director. I don't think he was, like, head, but he was creative director. And we're starting to see the Jeff Johns-ness. He just left, but I think we're starting to see it come into play because both I don't know if you've seen either trailers for the Aquaman or Captain Marvel / Shazam movies. They're both essentially adaptations of Jeff Johns' runs of those characters. So I guess Jeff Johns' creative control was literally just, do the comics I wrote as movies.
Yeah.
Now it's Jim Lee, I believe. And Jim Lee is one of the people who started Image, and that went really well. I mean, no, Image Comics is doing well now, but they ran it into the ground in the 90s when the original, like, Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane, like, all started it. So, I mean, Jim Lee's a good artist. I like him as an artist, but, so I don't know. But no, it really does, because, Teen Titans, this was a chance. No one ever liked the dark and grittiness of the DC movies. No one liked that in Batman.
And that's why the only one that was successful was, like, Wonder Woman. That's the one that people were like, yeah, I like this, because it was a superhero movie, and not just, like, sucking Christopher Nolan's dick, but really badly.
Yeah.
But, like
just putting, like, teeth in it.
It's not even, like, it's like, you know, people can shit on the Dark Knight movies as much as they want. They're still, at their core, they're, like, enjoyable products, I think.
Sure.
I think there's still, like, a movie that you can watch and be like, yeah. You know, it's a bit of a meme, but like,
yeah.
But like, I don't know, the DC movies are just like, I want to die, you know?
And I think honestly, you're saying, I feel like, what everyone remembers of like the Dark Knight movies is like the dumb and funny moments. I mean, I guess people remember like the serious moments, but what people quote and make jokes about are like Bane and like fucking the dumb lines Batman says and stuff. So, and not even like trying to be purposely edgy lines, just like, oh, haha, that was a dumb line. Man, Jonathan Nolan really is a terrible writer. But then this just goes wholeheartedly, even more than Dark Knight. Not Dark Knight, even more than like Batman vs. Superman. Like, at least in Batman vs. Superman, it was pretending to be ambiguous that Batman was killing people. It wasn't. He clearly just drives a car into people and like blows them up.
But it's not, the movie's not explicitly drawing attention to that fact.
Exactly.
I mean, in pretty much every Batman anything, he's killing people. Yeah. He just is.
In every Batman movie, he kills people. But like,
it's just how it is.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, to specifically be like, and now he is killing people. That's
he steps on a dude's neck.
That's my edgy version of Batman. Yeah. That makes him just, he could be Red Hood, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we can't do an Under the Red Hood movie now because we just agree with him. It's like, hey, I like what you're doing, Red Hood. Yeah. Thanks, Batman. You taught me everything.
That would actually be a really interesting thing to come out of this.
Yeah.
Like, what if it was all a setup just to have, like, they release all these Red Hood trailers, and everyone thinks they're going to be fighting, and like 10 minutes into the movie they meet and just agree with each other, and then the rest of the movie is just them like actually cleaning up all the crime because they've killed everybody. And it's just the end of the DC universe. There's no more crime.
We did it, Batman. We saved the city. So yeah, I don't know. It looks like a fucking mess. It's shot terribly. Like, it looks just like aesthetically bad and like hard to tell what's going on.
It looks like a really, really bad X-Men movie.
No, but actually, and I posted this, it looks like a fan film. With its tone, with how it's shot, with the acting. It looks like it's a fan film. And it looks like as a fan film, it looks like a half-decent fan film. Like, I've seen fan films like this, and it's like, okay, that's not bad. I appreciate the production value of this fan film. But no, this is your official movie, and it's like
they're
no!
really making it. All right, we've gotten very off track.
Teen Titans Go isn't that bad. It's better than this shit. Right. So, there's a pretty funny Michael Bolton joke in it. Not Michael Bolton. Other guy. Never mind. Maybe it was Michael Bolton. I don't remember. There's a pretty funny joke. There's some funny jokes in it. There's some good like DC and Marvel references, and the animation's pretty good. So check it out. Next, we have Mission Impossible 6: Fallout, which you've seen most recently,
right?
And I saw a little while ago. But this spoilers. This is probably the best blockbuster of the summer.
I would, yeah.
It's.
Oh, you forgot about Solo. So.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, Solo is the best blockbuster. So, no, it's pretty good. I've been a very big Mission Impossible fan. I've liked all the movies. I've been watching them, I think, since 4 in theaters, and like I went back and watched the other ones. I think Mission Impossible is one of the best franchises to date. Like, I think it's one of the best like action movie franchises to date, because
like, the movies are consistently
good.
Right.
In fact, I would even argue that one Mission Impossible one thing I loved about them is that every movie is better than the last one, starting from even 1. Like, 1's good, and I know everyone loves to shit on 2, but I would say 2 is better than 1. Like, 2 is actually where I think Mission Impossible got its Mission Impossible-ness. 1 is just kind of like this Brian De Palma film of, like, trying to do espionage. And there are some cool scenes, but, like, mostly it's just espionage. 2 is where we go into the fucking insane stunts and shit. And I would say that every film is better than the last one until maybe this one. This is the one that maybe kind of broke the trend, and I'll tell you why. It's because the other thing about Mission Impossible that made them so good is every film was by a different director, so every director was trying to one-up everyone who came before them.
Right.
And so this is the first film in the Mission Impossible franchise that is directed by a director who's already directed a Mission Impossible movie. It was directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who directed the last Mission Impossible movie, which is really good. But this one, it's good, but I think it kind of loses a little bit of the Mission Impossible-ness of the franchise. It's good as a film, but I think in the wider series, I'd rather watch another one. But you haven't seen any Mission Impossible.
I haven't seen any Mission Impossible, so I just thought that was a pretty good movie.
Okay.
And I don't have, like, I don't know, there's no, like, man, it's not as good as the other ones, because I just haven't seen them.
Yeah. And it's good. It is good. I just, honestly, I feel like a lot of the action was lacking, and that's my main thing. I feel like there aren't... Here's a good example. Here's a good, like, kind of reference to what I'm saying. When Uncharted 4 came out, one of the main criticisms was that there were no big action set pieces. There was no, like, hanging off the train moment. There was nothing like that. And I didn't really feel that way. I enjoyed... Because there are a lot of smaller action set pieces, and then there's, like, the bit with the truck and stuff. But it is mostly more grounded in just climbing up and doing puzzles and shooting people. It's not... There's not a lot of super big over-the-top action set pieces, but that didn't bother me at the time, because that wasn't really what I liked Uncharted for. I like Uncharted because of the characters and the dynamics, and the fact that they acknowledge that Drake is kind of really fucking a terrible person, like Uncharted 2, and, like, Uncharted 3 is all about him, like, stopping doing that, and then Uncharted 4 is even more so.
Right, and I mean, it kind of fits the theming of it, because he doesn't even want to.
Yeah, he doesn't even want to do
adventures anymore.
Yeah. So, I really like that. And I liked all the action in there. And I honestly like even the smaller set pieces. Like when, like, the tower, like, falls over. Or just some of the, like, kind of crazier gunfights. And I can relate to that. Now, after seeing Mission Impossible 6, I know what those people were feeling like. Because I can relate to that of being like, there was action, but there weren't a lot of, like, show-stopping action moments. There's one... really big action set piece, I would say, which is a good, really insanely well shot scene with the skydiving. Like, the skydiving scene is amazing. Like, that's awesome, and I'm so glad they didn't really put any of that in the trailer. Like, that's an amazing scene. And then there's the fight scene, which there's the legitimately probably the best fight scene of this year is in this movie when they're in the bathroom and it's Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise fighting the one guy. And it's like them kind of like 2v1. Like, that is an amazing, super well choreographed fight scene. It, like, has arcs, it has, like, little moments, it's kind of funny. It's really, really well done, and it's really, really well choreographed. And that was a good start. But after that, I kind of feel like it's mostly just, like, short gunfights and chase scenes through most of the movie. Like, almost the entire second act is just, like, short gunfights and chase scenes. And they're all good. It's all really good watching all of that. But it's mostly just like, someone wants to get the crate, someone wants to get Tom Cruise has to shoot some people. And it's enjoyable to watch, but it's nothing super crazy. And then in the third act, with the helicopter chase, I don't know, I didn't find that super, super thrilling.
I felt like it kind of went on for a long time. I was like, I don't know, it just kept being two helicopters following each other, and I was like, I don't really see why this is still going. The only thought I could have, and I mean, there's not really a good way to check this, but I'm wondering if it was that long because the timer on the bombs was in, like, real movie time.
Possibly.
Which would be interesting.
Yeah. How long? Wasn't the timer like 15 minutes or something?
Right.
Okay. Maybe. It felt longer than 15 minutes.
It did feel longer than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I liked the bit where Tom... Oh, by the way, spoilers for all of these movies. I think I forgot to say that up front. But spoilers for all of these movies. Like, we didn't really spoil Teen Titans Go, because who cares? But we're going to spoil all of these movies. So, last warning for spoilers for Mission Impossible specifically. I'll put time codes for each film if, like, you only want to listen to the ones you've seen. But spoilers for all these movies.
And to be fair... This far, we've named action scenes, but we haven't said any, like, plot. So
no.
It's like...
But I'm going to. I like the bit when Tom Cruise drops the load over them, and, like, he tries to hit it, and he overshoots it.
Yeah.
And he, like, says the line, he's like, oh, fuck. Like, I like the conceit of that scene, because I like the idea that, like, Tom Cruise is out of his element, that he doesn't know how to fly a helicopter, and he's just kind of winging it. But... It honestly isn't that dynamically shot for most of it.
And that starts earlier too when he's trying to climb up the thing and he like fucks it up and almost falls off.
Yeah, that part's cool. I like when he's climbing up there. Yeah. And then I like the crash. That's honestly very Uncharted. Like it feels like with the two helicopters falling on top of each other. I was expecting more from the final fight.
It felt like it was gonna be like the end of Metal Gear. You know, when Old Snake and Old Liquid are fighting each other for 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. It's just like a 30-minute, like, just hand-to-hand fight.
It's like a whole thing.
Okay.
It's it's like their last fight, basically. Because then they're like dead at the end of the game or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it goes through every it goes through like a famous track from every Metal Gear game played in like its entirety through the entire fight. It's something.
Okay.
But I expected it to go on longer because it's kind of like I don't know, the way that it's set up is like this final showdown, and it's like something that can make fights really good is not only a personal connection but a lot of injury. I think that's why people like Die Hard. Yeah. It's because he gets hurt a lot.
That's why the fight scenes in Daredevil are so good. Because a lot of it is just him getting hurt.
And so having two people who are just like going to stop at nothing to kill each other, but are both like so injured they can barely stand is kind of compelling. Which is kind of why I thought it was going to be like the Metal Gear thing, because they're like equally strong, and so they keep like punching each other in the face at the same time and like almost passing out. It's a whole thing. But then it's like 2 minutes.
It's just them trying to tackle each other for most of it, and then they fall off the cliff. Like, that's the whole thing. And again, it feels like him holding onto the side of the cliff feels very Uncharted, but especially after the fight scene in the bathroom that was so well choreographed and so dynamically shot. There were a couple, like, very short moments when, like, they were actually, like, punching each other, which was cool. But most of it really was just them trying to tackle each other. And especially with after establishing how crazy of a fighter Henry Cavill is, and how, like, he would seem like he could beat Tom Cruise in a fight almost. And, like, I was looking forward to, like, Tom Cruise using, like, the environment to his advantage and, like, trying to, like, go for weak points. And I guess he kind of does that. Yeah. But it's mostly just, them trying to knock each other over, and then they fall off the cliff, and then Henry Cavill gets got.
Which, to be fair, is a pretty cool way to like kill off a villain.
It is a pretty cool way, and I like that part. But I don't know, the climax especially. I feel like that could have. I was enjoying the second act, but I was enjoying it in a way where like I was expecting there to be another big fight scene again, or a big like set piece or something, and then that kind of, because in all of them, there's been like 2 to 3 set pieces. This film really just has one. This film really just has one set piece. That I don't know. Do you think like there is another like I mean, there's the chase scenes which are cool, but I feel like
there's the car chase that goes on for a minute, and then there's like the part where he's running on the roof.
The rooftop, that part's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's not as much of a... It's like an interesting chase because neither of them see each other. Also, him throwing a chair through the window. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I like that part. I like that chase scene. I like him in the office. I like that they did use the take where he broke his foot, but not the shot where he broke his foot in. They used the part where he broke his foot and he's walking off. That's the part of the take they used. I like that. I didn't hate this film, and I like it, by all means. It's just, yeah, I guess what I come down to, and I know it's my shitty thing that I always say of, like, you should only enjoy movies as a movie, don't compare it to other movies. But, like, comparing it to other movies, other Mission Impossible movies, it leaves a little bit to
I
be
did think it was
desired.
interesting, because Simon Pegg was in, like, the last one, right?
He's been in the last 3. He's been in since 3.
And I always thought that's kind of a weird choice for a person, because it always seemed like a really serious movie from the outside. But I get it having watched it.
Okay.
Like, it makes a lot more sense, because he still is, like, a comic relief character, kind of. But that does help the movie a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Like, him running, and he's just, like, calling out left and right. He's like, what's taking you so long? Then he flips the map into 3D is one of the funniest things I've seen.
He's like, oh, sorry. Especially since, too, Simon Pegg, I feel like, hasn't been in a lot recently. Like, I feel like this is one of the only movies... Like, a few years ago, he was in, like, everything. And now he's... I don't know.
He was in a Star Wars.
Yeah, he was in a Star Wars. I think he's going to be in the new Star Wars, too. Well, I mean, since it's J.J. Abrams, of course, he's going to be in the new Star Wars, but...
How?
I don't know. I mean,
What if it's the same, like, dumb, weird alien character?
He just comes back at the end, it's like, Ray! I think Simon Pegg actually works a little better. My favorite Simon Pegg is in 5, actually, in the last one, because it's him... Because he was always kind of like the Q, and in 5 he, like, wants to be a field agent. And, like, there's actually kind of an arc for that character at the same time, and, like, he actually goes through, like, oh, shit, this is kind of hard, tough work. And this one, he's kind of more of, like, kind of a field agent. My favorite part of this movie, probably, outside of the fight scenes, is the bit in their, like, bunker, when, like, everyone's, like, one-upping everyone else at, like, every second. Like, I really like that scene of them all just, like, pulling guns. It's, like, it's essentially just the fucking Mexican standoff scene with Key and Peele and Rocket Jump, but in a movie.
Yeah.
I'm actually a blueberry pie!
It was so ridiculous when I was watching it. I was like, really? Like, 8 different ones.
Yeah. Doggos are barking.
It's ambient noise.
Okay.
It really adds to the experience. Oh my god, shut up, you goddamn dogs. Oh!
Do you want to go?
Going. No,
Okay.
just keep going. They're not going to stop.
So, I did like it. I liked it a lot. Oh, well, that's the other thing, too, is that every movie always usually adds a couple of teammates. This one, I guess, added Henry Cavill, but for most of the film, he is, spoilers, a villain.
Yeah.
So...
And I mean, he's kind of just treated as a villain the whole time.
Exactly.
Like, he's never really on his side.
Well, even at in the beginning, I always kind of figured he was going to be a villain. In fact, I even think I read somewhere that he was going to be a villain, like, before the movie. So it's one of those things, like, I always kind of knew that was going to happen. But even at the beginning, I was like, oh, maybe they're doing kind of, like this sort of buddy cop thing with Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill. Because that is most of the first act, is just the two of them going through this mission. And I kind of like that. But everyone else is from, like, previous films. Like, Vin Rames is back, of course, because he's in all of them. Simon Pegg's back. Rebecca Ferguson is back from the last one. Alec Baldwin is back from the last one, though he's in, like, 2 scenes. And I mean,
then
that's
dies.
It. Yeah, and then dies.
I thought it was... I mean, I don't know much about Mission Impossible, but it seemed like they were trying to reconcile, like, 2 love stories that just, like, crossed over each other, and they were trying to figure out how to make that, like...
Well, because the Michelle Monaghan character was really big in 3, and then she just wasn't in any of the other movies. Like, they acknowledge her in 4. They actually kind of have a subplot where you think she died, and, like, it's almost even kind of like, did Ethan Hunt, like, accidentally get her killed or something? But it turns out she's just been in hiding, because Ethan Hunt has a lot of enemies.
Right.
But then they don't really acknowledge her in 5, and in 5 they kind of set up a romance with Rebecca Ferguson, because she is kind of like female Tom Cruise a lot of the time. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's good. I just do maintain, I think, hopefully after this one, Mission Impossible will go back to having a new director every time. I actually would really, really like to see Justin Lin to direct a Mission Impossible film, because Justin Lin, you know who Justin Lin is? Yes. Okay. Justin Lin has directed most of the Fast and Furious films, so
But he
I think
made the worst Star Trek movie.
No, he made the best Star Trek movie. And he made the best Star Trek movie. So I think Justin Lin would be great for a Mission Impossible film. There are a handful of other directors I'd like to see too.
J.J. Abrams.
Joss
Whedon.
Already made one. No, God no. I think
Ron Howard.
maybe, I don't know. I'd rather see that than Joss Whedon, honestly. I can't. No one else because there aren't a lot of action directors these days. Like, you don't think of really people who are known for direct. I guess Michael Bay is really the only person you think of when you think of action directors.
When was the last time he made a movie?
Last year, when the last Transformers film came out.
That was last year? I thought that was 2 or 3 years ago. Fuck.
I think it was last. It might have
They
been
made
longer
3
than that.
Transformers movies, and then made one, the 4th one that wasn't really connected.
Mhm.
And they were like, that. Everyone thought it was ending at 3, and then he's like, here's the last one that I'm making, the 4th one, that's the final one.
I think there was
And
5 of them.
And then he made another one,
Yeah, they
and
made
everyone
another
was
one.
like, what's going on,
Yeah.
man?
Yeah. So who knows with that. Anything else to say about Mission Impossible? I enjoyed it. I would recommend it, and it is definitely the best blockbuster out of this
Right.
year. So, check it out, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good for the most part. The only time I felt like it dragged on was, the very end.
Yeah, totally. Me too.
And it's a pretty long movie, so.
It's 2.5 hours, so, But most of these movies are, so.
Yeah.
Did Will have any thoughts? Oh, no, Will didn't
Will
see
didn't
this one.
see this one.
Okay, well, I'm gonna hope that you relay any Will opinions.
They're basically, we have
Will
the
opinions.
same.
Okay.
Because there's not a lot about, a lot of these movies are just really.
Well, moving to the really, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp. So it's kind of downhill from here, guys.
You know
so
what's interesting?
yes,
This movie's set in San Francisco.
it is San Fran.
Allegedly. It's not really.
It's not really, no.
There's one part where he's on a ferry, I guess.
He's at Pier 39
Yeah.
at the end, and I was taken aback by that because that was the only part that looked like a real location.
Well, there was one time where they looked at Coit Tower. They were and then.
Oh yeah,
And it was irrelevant.
and
It was just,
the architecture of his house kind of looks like a Victorian.
but it's very not.
No, yeah.
Which is, I guess, why I didn't like it. Usually I like things that are set in San Francisco just for no reason, even if they're bad.
You must have enjoyed every blockbuster for the past 5 years then, because they've all been here.
I don't know what that is.
I
like Sonic Adventure, Escape the City
yeah.
is
Escape
what a
from
banger.
the city.
Or
Yeah.
Pepsi Man, which has
Man.
the exact same sequence
Yeah.
that's in Sonic
Yeah,
Adventure
no.
for some fucking reason. So yeah, it didn't work though. I wasn't into it.
Well, because it's actually interesting we're going from Ant-Man and the Wasp for Mission Impossible, because I think Ant-Man and the Wasp wanted to do the Mission Impossible second act, especially in their climax. They wanted to do a big chase scene where everyone's one-upping everyone else, and there are 4 parties that are all double-crossing each
And
other.
It's just
It's just a mess.
None of those parties need to exist. So first off, I want to talk about this parties thing,
Uh-huh.
and then I have another thing that I wanted to talk about that's
Okay.
just kind of thematic for the movie.
Sure.
There are too many villains in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
But also, no villains?
Right. So
Uh-huh.
here's what's happening.
Yes.
The first villain is the government because
Mhm.
they're keeping him in his house,
Mhm.
and they're just comic relief characters, and I don't know why they're in the movie.
Mhm.
That entire plot line is fucking irrelevant.
I-
It's just a waste of time.
Okay, Rice Gun.
It really, I mean,
I think it kind of it's supposed to add a level of suspense because Hank Pym doesn't really, not Hank Pym, fucking Paul Rudd. I can't remember all the fucking Ant-Man names. Because Paul Rudd is
I think his name's probably Steve or some shit.
it's a different Ant-Man, it's in a character, but I can't.
90% of Marvel characters are named Steve, so
Yeah.
that's a good guess.
Because Paul Rudd doesn't really have a lot of stakes in the actual movie himself.
Yeah.
He's just kind of helping out Hank Pym and fucking his daughter. So, it kind of makes sense that they wanted to give Hank Pym his own little thing of to be worried about, because ultimately, if his friends get arrested, that sucks. Or not even if you take the government out of it completely, it's just a story about them really trying to get their wife back, and these dumb thugs who kind of get in the way.
Right.
and then Lawrence Fishburne fucks it up a little bit for them too.
So the FBI's there, and they're useless. The whole thing of it is just that they can't do anything right. And then there's just an evil Texas gang.
Yeah.
And it appears that the only reason they're in the movie is because they think that whatever they're doing must be worth money, so they want to steal it. It's the most, like, Home Alone level villain I've ever heard.
Well, you know the thing about that character. That's played by Walter Goggins, who I've liked Walter Goggins as a character actor. I think he's a real good actor. I'm glad to see him getting work outside of just, like, Tarantino films. He was in Hateful Eight. I don't know what you would have seen him in. He was in he's in Django and Chain 2. He's the guy who tries to cut Django's balls off.
Oh.
So he's that guy. And then I think he gets shot in the dick or something. I like Walter Goggins, and I think he's good in this movie. Have you seen Iron Man 2?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
In Iron Man 2, there's a character played by Sam Rockwell, who is essentially just Jeff Bridges' character from the first movie, but as, like, a pompous dick. I was like, he's like a tech bro, kind of. Oh, someone's calling you. You want to answer that on the pod?
No.
Do you recognize the number?
Random number.
Okay.
No.
He's like a tech bro, and he's in Iron Man 2, and then he never shows up again. Walter Goggins' character should have been Sam Rockwell's character. Because that kind of makes sense of, like, this guy who used to own a tech company, who was working in, like, kind of superhero tech, who then, like, got bankrupt and went to jail and got out of jail, and all he could do now was in, like, illegal tech moving. Like, that would make sense for that character. But then this random Walter Goggins guy, who I guess is just, like, a restaurateur.
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
He's like a villain from, like, a 90s straight to, like, VHS movie.
Yeah.
It's so weird and out of place.
Yeah.
And then the other villain is, like, the ghost, who's supposed to be a sympathetic character, because she's like, I'm gonna die if I don't get this. Which already doesn't make any fucking sense. Because she's been living for, like, fucking 20 years at this point, since she got zapped by the goo beam or whatever that didn't kill her. And now she's like, I'm gonna die in, like, 2 days if I don't fix this. It's like, I don't think that's accurate, since you've been alive since then. Probably you're just not gonna die.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think she's a sympathetic character, because it's supposed to be like, oh, she's just gonna do anything to save her own life, blah, blah, blah. But every single conversation with her in the movie is just people reasoning with her going, if you just let us do this thing first, which will take like 5 seconds, we can fix you. And she's like, I'm going to kill everyone because I'm an idiot. The whole movie. And then at the end they fix her, and she's like, wow, that's good thing I didn't get there in time. And it's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I wish you died.
Wow. I was kind of disappointed that Lawrence Fishburne didn't get big, because they reference it a little bit. They do a dick joke, which is okay.
It was funny in the trailer, and in context, it was not funny at all somehow. It was like, how'd you fuck that up?
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that actually there was secretly going to be, like, a big fight, like Lawrence Fishburne and Ant-Man would, like, fight as, like, two giant people. That didn't happen. Honestly, Ant-Man is more big in Civil War than he is in this movie, and it's used better in Civil War. Because one thing about the first Ant-Man, I'll talk a little bit about the first Ant-Man in relation to this movie, is that I was expecting him to become Giant Man at some point, and never does. And I'm like, okay, I guess they just wanted to focus on Ant-Man. And then in Civil War, I didn't know he was going to be Giant Man, so then when he was, I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. In this movie, they put the Giant Man stuff in the trailer, and that's it. There's no other scenes where he becomes giant at any point. And, like, it's just kind of disappointing. And just, again, comparing this to the first movie, I feel like this movie kind of loses a lot of the charm of the first film in a weird way. Because I think what was so great about the first film is that, I don't know, no one was expecting much from it. So, like, when it actually, like, wasn't that bad, like, everyone was really surprised. Like, I liked the whole heist aspect of the first film, and there's really not that in this film. Like, there's no really heist, there's no, like, surprise fight scene between him and Falcon, like in the first film, which is super awesome, because again, none of that was in the trailer, so you're like, oh shit. But ultimately, it's just one long like, it's just the ending is kind of a big chase scene, and there are, like, kind of some chase scenes between, like, there are kind of some fight scenes between, like, the ghost and them. I don't know. And it doesn't even really feel like... It's called Ant-Man and the Wasp because it's implying that it's, like, going to be, like, a team-up, like a buddy cop movie. I really don't feel like they team up that much, or when they do, they're doing that much stuff together.
I think what this movie boils down to, and this is something I've talked to pretty much everyone about, because it made me really frustrated when I saw this movie. The first time the Wasp shows up in the movie, she's got her wings, you know, and she's using her little blasters or whatever, and Paul Rudd's like, oh, she has wings? She's got blasters? And as soon as he said it, I was like, okay, so the thing is going to be at the end of the scene, he's going to be like, hey, why didn't I have that? And the guy's going to be like, I hate you. Got him. And that's the joke. And then fucking sure enough, the end of the scene, he's like, oh man, she had wings and blasters? Did you not have that technology when you built my suit? And the guy's like, oh, I did. And it's like, oh, you got him. And it's just like, the whole movie is that.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, I know what the joke's going to be, and it's not that funny.
Yeah.
And then that's the joke. And you're like, that wasn't funny.
And also, again, that was a joke that worked way better in the trailer.
Right.
Like, all the, like, jokes are funny in the trailer because they're, like, they're just contained, but there is so much setup to almost every single joke.
Like, the whole scene sets up to a punchline.
Yeah. It's like the whole truth serum shit of, like, it's not truth serum. Yes, it is. It's not truth serum.
Yeah.
Oh, it's truth serum. Blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know.
That's a whole movie worth of setup for that joke.
And, like, Michael Pena's barely even in this. Like, again, Michael Pena was, like, the standout part of the last film, and his whole crew was. In this film, they're in, like, 2 scenes. They barely help out at all. Like,
And also, this movie, I mean, I know it's already pretty ridiculous science, right? The Ant-Man thing, shrinking shit. But this movie takes it to a point where it's just not, you can't call it science anymore.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of magic people fighting.
Yeah.
Like, they just have magic powers.
Yeah. Also, Paul Rudd should still be black. Like, I mean, still the whole thing is like, oh, he's being harassed by the police for, like, something, and like, oh, this and that. Like, he should still, not as much as the first film necessarily, but it should still be, he should be black. Like, I don't know. Like, Paul Rudd's fine in it, he's funny enough, but he should be black. And, like, this movie isn't terrible, but I think you put it really well. It's just kind of a chore to watch.
It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Which is still, it's still probably, if I had to rate it on all the movies you've seen, it's still probably a neutral or a positive, comparative to where they get to.
Where we're going. And I agree, because even when I saw it, I'm like, this is better than some films I've seen recently, but this isn't good.
Right.
And again, and now we're going to get into the other thing, when this movie came out, everyone was talking about, oh my god, it's so funny, it's so great, Ant-Man's so fucking hilarious, oh my god, all the action's so good, and it's like,
it's just,
seriously?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I've even seen really a bad review for this film. And it's like, really, guys? Oh, okay.
That's kind of the theme of the episode.
The episode is...
So do you want to do 2 1 hours or 1 2 hours?
I want to just talk as long as we talk. And if we go, like, really, really long, we can, like, cut it in half, and we can just record a, like, don't touch that dial, this continues in episode 2.
I mean, we could just say that, and then just, even if it isn't 2 episodes, it's just like a joke, right?
Let's just keep talking and then see where we go.
But that's kind of, I mean, Ant-Man.
I'm trying to think. Again, I just think what was so great about the first Ant-Man is it was a movie that I was following for years. Before Iron Man, it was like, Edgar Wright's Ant-Man, Edgar Wright's Ant-Man, this is going to be so good. And then, of course, Edgar Wright, the fucking asshole he is, drops out like the second day of production, so they have to scramble together to get a whole new movie made. And it turns out to be a pretty good movie. It's like kind of a fun heist film. And there's like a lot of heart to it, there's a lot of character to it. And then this film just... I don't know, again, it feels like they're trying to do more of like a layer cake thing almost, of like someone's got the MacGuffin and everyone's trying to get it and get a one-up. But it just doesn't feel very interesting. I would have rather they just did a heist film again. It doesn't feel very creative with like the ant powers really at any point, or like the shrinking and growing stuff. Like, the first film looked like it was gonna be... the first film had a lot of like creative moments with that stuff. And in this film... they put all the creative stuff in the trailer, and then they don't do anything more with it. Like, there's then no more scenes with it. Mm-hmm. So, again, pretty disappointing, but ultimately, I guess, better than most of the films.
What's Edgar Wright been doing recently?
He just did Baby Driver, and
that was like 2 years ago at this point. It's been out for a while.
He,
I forgot about that.
I don't know if he's doing anything else. So, yeah. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Any other final thoughts about that? Okay. Then let's talk real quick about Ocean's 8. I kind of threw this in here, not necessarily because this was kind of trying to be a tentpole movie, I think. I mean, this was a sequel to a pretty big franchise. This was, I've never really watched any of the Ocean's films, but, like, I guess they're considered, like, great films. And, of course, everyone got mad at it because it's a bunch of women.
Yeah.
So
people were mad because there were women in a movie.
Yeah.
You could basically summarize every, like, reaction to anything that has a non-white character, like non-white male character in it, with the vine of the guy going, 4 female Ghostbusters? The feminists are taking over!
Yeah, so I saw this movie, and I mean, it's better than Ant-Man and the Wasp, I guess. Maybe we should have talked about this if we're going from, like, best to worst movies of this year. Maybe we should have talked about this before Ant-Man and the Wasp. But it's not great. It's just kind of like a solid heist film.
I thought it was a pretty good heist film.
Yeah.
And I think I appreciated that it wasn't just a movie. I kind of liked that it wasn't a movie about a bunch of people, like, with a bunch of different secret plans all trying to beat each other out. It's just a movie about someone planning out and executing a heist, and it goes, like, perfectly.
Yeah.
That was really, I don't know, it's really nice to just see that happen.
And, I think, honestly, and maybe no one would have seen it, but I think you could have just not had this be related to Ocean's 11 at all. This could have just been its own thing. And I think it would have, and I'm not criticizing, I'm not being one of those people who's like, why are you making James Bond black? Why don't you just make a black secret agent movie instead? Yeah. Why don't you just create an entire new franchise?
It's definitely Ocean's themed because it'll bring people to theaters.
Sure.
There's very, very little connection. There's like one scene where she, like, talks about it, and that's it.
I guess it's, like, stylistically similar, but honestly, there are so many movies that have done the style of Oceans. Like, that's not a biggest thing. And also, like, there wasn't as big of a reaction as Ghostbusters to this movie. There wasn't as big of, like, literally everyone shitting on it. But I still think the general consensus was like, this is bad. And it's like, first of all, comparatively, this is a lot better than certain movies that have been out.
Yeah.
Including Ant-Man and the Wasp. Also, and I mean, this is the bigger thing. Okay, I was
it's
like,
just
and
never gonna stop.
It really isn't. The bigger thing for me too is that it's not ruining the Ocean's franchise. There hasn't been an Ocean's 11 movie in like 10 years, and also 12 and 13, everyone hates. So it's not like this is the fucking nail in the coffin of Ocean's movies. There's already been like 2 bad Ocean's movies already. So, like, I don't know.
And I don't know. I thought it was cool to see a movie that has almost no male characters.
Yeah.
And I think this movie does a lot better job at representation than a lot of other movies do, considering the fact that there are 8 women and they're not all white.
Yeah.
I mean, that's already like a step forward.
That's why that was my only really big problem with Ghostbusters was honestly when they announced the casting, I was like, oh, cool, so it's still 3 white people and a black person.
Right,
like,
it's the same.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah. And at least this movie is, like, it's not, like, super, super diverse, but it is a little, it has,
it's
like,
more.
An Asian woman, it has an Indian woman, it has a black woman, it has...
It's got
Rihanna.
Who's apparently just the black actor you cast now.
Yeah.
Is Rihanna.
So, no, I enjoyed it. I think, I mean, yeah, it's a heist movie, and there aren't a lot of heist movies these days, so, like, I saw this before I did see another movie, American Animals, which is like a really, really good heist movie. But that's also no one saw that movie.
Right.
But again, then if you're gonna shit on like, oh, I don't care, that's women, it's just a bad heist movie, then how come no one saw American Animals? So it's like, oh yeah, Mr. Big fucking, oh, it's a bad heist. Then go see this movie that's a good heist movie then. But oh no one saw it. Huh, funny that. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's you hate the heist part. That's what you hate.
It's just like
yeah.
It's just like when Watch Dogs 2 was announced and there was literally no information about the game yet. All we knew was that there was a black protagonist. Yeah. Everyone went, fucking, it's the end of the world. No customizable protagonist. How could you? Why do I have to play as a black guy? It's like, you had to play as a white guy in the first one. And no one complained about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking ridiculous, dude.
So it's pretty good. I liked I liked the whole heistness. I honestly would love to see a sequel. I'd love to see.
It feels like it could. It feels like it's definitely got sequel potential because the cast works pretty well together. And I don't know. It was a pretty well made movie.
Yeah.
And it's got like 2 twists at the end, but they're not like everyone's trying to outsmart each other. Yeah. It's just like. They're just like, look, we got even more money.
Yeah. Yeah, get wrecked. And honestly, I was even thinking about that. Of like, why don't they try to steal all of the diamonds?
Right. And it turns out that they did. Yeah. They did steal all the diamonds.
Yeah. So no, I honestly, even if like, it was a bunch, I would just love to see like, ensemble films of like a bunch of like, famous women doing a heist. Like, even if it wasn't all these characters again. Like, I think that would be pretty cool. So I don't know, I enjoyed it, and I think that people are only shitting on it because they hate women.
Probably.
Like, I was talking...
There's not really a lot... I don't know, it's not that it's an amazing movie, it's just really hard to find, like, bad things to say about it.
Yeah, and it's because, it's not that bad. Like, it's fine if you say, oh, I wasn't that big of a fan, or oh, it wasn't that great.
Right.
Like, but if you're, like, fucking ruining oceans, so bad... it's because you hate women. I was talking to Isabel, and I do love the kind of running joke we have where we'll be like, oh, nobody will like offhandedly be like, oh, nobody liked Atomic Blonde because they hate women. And then we'll pause and we'll go, no, but seriously, nobody likes this movie because they hate women. It's like, no, not as a joke, like for real. Anything else to say about Ocean's 8?
No, I saw it a while ago. But
why did you see it? Like, that's a random one.
I don't know. I just, like, it was just something... It was like Ready Player One, where just, like, my parents were like, let's go to this. I was like, all right.
All right, sure. And then, what's next? I guess... Okay, here. Deadpool 2. And then let's talk about Deadpool 2.
Yes. Because this is another one where I didn't ever see Deadpool 1. And all I've heard from people who have seen it is Deadpool 1 was better.
Deadpool 1 doesn't hold up. Like, Deadpool is a very you had to be there movie. Because, here's the thing. Deadpool, honestly a lot like Happy Time Murders even, was a movie that was in production hell for like a decade. Yeah. It was a movie I was always following of like, when's Deadpool? When's it gonna come out? Deadpool script hilarious. When is it gonna come out? And I thought for sure it was either never going to get made, or it was going to be PG-13. It was going to be a dumb PG-13.
It was pretty crazy that it wasn't.
Yeah, and then, especially at the time, Deadpool came out at a time that we're kind of forgetting about now, but up until like a couple of years ago, having a big budget movie be R was like unheard of. Whether it be for horror, whether it be for action, whether it be even for like, I guess comedy, but even comedy was mostly PG-13.
It was like a weird thought where like, if you make it so that everyone can access the movie, you'll make more money.
Exactly.
Not taking into account that 99% of the market is adults.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was like, at that point, there wasn't even really any R-rated superhero movies that had come out recently. There was like, Kingsman had come out a little earlier, but that was like, and that was an achievement in its own, and also way better than Deadpool. But that is like, that's a spy movie. That's like its own thing.
Right.
Deadpool, I thought for sure was never going to come out or be PG-13. And the fact that it came out, and it was R, and it was pretty good, means like everyone thought it was the best movie ever made. Myself included. I thought like, oh my god, this is amazing. We've reached a new level of fucking superhero movies. It's incredible. And we haven't. And we probably never will. Because the sad thing about Deadpool 2 is this is probably the last chance. This is probably the last Deadpool movie we'll ever get, and also the last R-rated superhero movie, at least for a while, because now that Disney owns Fox, they're not going to make Logan.
Yeah.
They might make Deadpool 3, but he might be PG-13, and it might be like, oh, why can't I say beep anymore?
Right.
Like, now that Disney owns... Because the reason Fox was making these R-rated movies is because they wanted people to see them. And they found out the only way that people would come to their movies is if they did something different, and if they did something edgier, and if they did something unique that MCU wasn't doing. And they're like, okay, so we'll just make, like, hard R films. That's why Logan was made. That's why Deadpool was made. Was to create a counterculture to these MCU films.
And people saw them.
And they're... As a counterculture, they're not that bad, and I would have really liked to see more movies like those be made. It's not going to happen.
Right. I mean, it's dead now.
So we have 3 of them, I guess. 2 of them are Deadpool movies. The first Deadpool movie, rewinding just back to that, it is a very you had to be there movie. I even rewatched it like semi-recently, like about like 6 months, a little over that ago. It's not as good as I remember it. Like, I think if you watched it now, you'd be like, okay, I guess. But, like, it's not as good as I remember it. The direction isn't that great. There's not a lot of action. There's, like, the cool highway chase scene that was the pitch video originally. And, I mean, there are some funny lines. Like, there are some funny kind of lines. But overall, like, And it's not like there's a super lot of even violence or anything. Deadpool 2... is a downgrade of that. Like, even still is a downgrade of that. And to be honest, even after watching Deadpool and realizing it doesn't hold up, I maintain that Deadpool is better than Deadpool 2. Just simply because it's almost like watching Deadpool a third time and realizing it doesn't even hold up to what you thought it didn't hold up to. Because it's like, not even the action. I don't know about you. I felt like the action was all really just boringly shot and like
it
wasn't
super interesting.
No, like it's not that funny, honestly. Like there are a couple lines, but it's not.
Yeah, I guess I definitely. I mean, this was one of the movies I was watching in a row. So out of that, it was definitely the best movie I saw.
Sure.
So that made me, I think, like it more than it necessarily deserves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the best way to compare it is this is funny in a kind of like an internet comedic sketch way.
Yes, 100%.
Like the scene where they're skydiving feels very much like an internet short.
Yeah.
Where you just like everyone keeps dying over and over again.
Yeah. And I've seen internet shorts like that, and I didn't find them very funny. So
I did think
that
it was funny at the end when he went back.
Yeah.
Just to save that one dude.
Yeah. That part I liked. I liked the time travel bit at the end. There are jokes I do like.
Here's the question though.
Yeah.
Is Josh Brolin better in this movie or in Infinity War?
I'm thinking very hard for the people who can't listen. I almost want to say Infinity War, because in this he's just nothing.
Well, yeah.
In this he's just...
I mean, it's pretty hard to work with Cable.
Yeah.
He's the most straight man in Deadpool.
But at least with Cable in the comics, it's like Deadpool can play off of him fine.
Right.
And like it's a fun dynamic they have. In this it's just, he's like generic grizzly bad guy who they team up at the very end. And even then, like, I don't know. No, I don't think... We're going to get into old Joshy Boy a little later. I don't think Josh Brolin's a very good actor. Okay, before this summer, I didn't think Josh Brolin was a very good actor, but I didn't necessarily think he was a very bad actor.
You didn't like No Country for Old Men?
He's not very good in that, though. Like, he's very middle of the road for me. After this summer... He's not middle of the road. He's roadkill. Because I think he's a bad actor after this summer. I'm sorry. I don't think he's a... Because all 3, and the movie we're not talking about is Sicario 2, because I didn't really want to... I don't feel like that's really a blockbuster. There's a lot to talk about with Sicario 2, but I don't really feel like that's tonally consistent with the rest of everything we're talking about. So, he's bad in that, he's bad in this, and he's bad in Infinity War. And he's kind of the same character almost for each of them. So... I don't know why so many people
How could you say that? Thanos is a very complex character.
We'll get to that. Oh my god.
Anyway.
I'm in a lot of ways, and I don't necessarily think he's this bad of an actor, but this is kind of what I'm going to compare him to. I think he's the male Elle Fanning. I think it is baffling to me that an actor of this mediocre to bad level is getting cast in so many movies, mostly by competent directors. Like, why is he working with the Coen brothers? Why is he working with Denis Villeneuve? Why is he working with these directors who kind of know their shit? And so many of them are casting him. Why? And I'm not, I wouldn't, if I was like lesser, I'd say, oh, it's because his dad's famous. But I don't even think that's true. Who the fuck remembers his dad anymore? Like, who cares about fucking some guy who was in a bunch of cowboy shows from the 60s?
Right.
Like, I don't even think nepotism is the excuse I could give him. I don't know why so many people cast this pretty bad actor in things. So, no, he's not good in this. He's not funny. He's not even that good of a Cable. Like, no. Cable, when Doctor Strange was had been announced, there was a big thing where, like, every week there would be a new rumor of a different actor playing Doctor Strange. And every actor was like, I could see it. I could see Keanu Reeves playing Doctor Strange. I could see fucking David Tennant playing Doctor Strange. I could see all these actors playing Doctor Strange. And we ended up going with Benedict Cumberbatch. He's kind of a generic casting choice, but I think works fine as Doctor Strange. After Deadpool, the same thing happened again with Cable. Every week, there was a new actor saying, who's going to be Cable? Is it going to be Ron Perlman? Is it going to be Dolph Lundgren? Like,
oh my god, we missed Dolph Lundgren as Cable?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
I know. Like, there was...
Dr. Dolph Lundgren.
There was a lot of people. I honestly think you could have gone with doing a female Cable. I think that would have been really good.
What if it was The Rock?
I think The Rock would have been good too. I think The Rock's good in everything, so I think The Rock would have been good too. I think The Rock probably would have worked better as the Juggernaut. He wouldn't even need any CGI or anything. He could just show up. But I will admit, yes, that's the only surprise in this movie is that the Juggernaut's in it, and they did a pretty good job in the trailers of not showing that. But to be honest, I feel like he's just a big muscly guy. Like, he's not
really important.
He's not really important, and he's not really in it.
Yeah.
Like, and this is a thing.
The villain is society.
I guess. There's the kid from What We Do, fucking Hunt for the Wilder People's in it, and he's probably one of the better parts of the movie. There's the one guy from World's End and Atomic Blonde's in it. And the thing too is this is directed by David Leitch or whatever, who directed Atomic Blonde. So this movie disappoints me both as a Deadpool movie and as a movie by that guy, because like I was at least hoping for like some cool action scenes. Mm-hmm. I was at least hoping for like a scene where like Deadpool like fucking sword cuts people up, or like there was a cool gunfight or something. Nothing. Not like, and again, if anything, this movie made me enjoy Atomic Blonde a lot more because miles and miles better than this piece of shit. But in action direction especially. Again, you feel like there are no action directors out. I feel like this guy is an action director after this movie. I don't know. So, I don't know. I feel really bad for him, especially that he had to fucking like get dragged through the mud like this. But no, I'm sorry. This movie fucking sucks. This movie fucking sucks. It has some okay moments. It has some okay jokes. It has some kind of funny cameos, like the Brad Pitt cameo was like, okay, haha. Overall, though, no.
I like Domino.
Thank you for bringing that up. I want to see a Domino movie with Zazie Beetz. Mm-hmm. That is the only salvageable part of this movie. I want to see just a straight up, just Domino, completely unrelated, none of the other characters from this movie in it, just Domino as Zazie Beetz, because that was amazing. She's really fucking good in this movie.
I thought Domino as a character was really good,
mm-hmm.
and I liked that the movie wasn't obsessed with making it about how she was black or about how it was a woman.
Mm-hmm.
She just was. Like, it wasn't written as a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's just written as, like, person.
Well, Domino is a woman in the comics,
Right.
but she is honestly much more over-sexualized than she is in this, which I appreciated. Also, and Isabel actually pointed this out, is like, I was like, who are they going to cast as Domino? Because the whole thing with Domino is she's like pale with like a black, kind of a black eye. And Isabel's like, well, what if they, instead of doing all that makeup, what if they just do a black woman and they have like a white thing over her eye? And that's what they did.
Right.
And it works, and it's cool. And this is probably one of the only times where like they dramatically take like an absurd looking comic book character and then make them a normal person, and I'm okay with it. Because I think she owns that character so well.
Yeah.
I would love to see just a movie where it's just Domino. That would be awesome. It's probably not going to happen.
There's no way.
But I think that would be so fucking cool.
Maybe she'll be in Avengers 8.
Maybe Deadpool will be too. I don't know.
Oh my god. I fucking hope not. That sounds awful.
Yeah. Honestly. Well, honestly, there's a good chance it can happen.
I know now that they're going to do it, which pisses me off even more, because, like, Deadpool doesn't work when you insert him into other people's stories.
No.
A story with Deadpool is Deadpool's story.
Yeah.
That's why he's so fucking bad in X-Men Origins.
Uh-huh.
Because the whole thing is that he doesn't make any sense. There's no continuity.
Yeah.
There's no fucking logic. Like, at the end of this movie, he went back in time and just changed a bunch of shit, and that was the whole joke.
Yeah.
How does that character fit into a post-Thanos Avengers?
Yeah, that's... Oh, God.
Like, why wouldn't he just take the time machine and kill Thanos as a baby or something? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's Deadpool. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't like the whole thing they did with his girlfriend. I don't like that they fucking fridged her, and then the whole movie is about... Because I liked her from the first film. But clearly this movie is like, we don't know what to do with a woman. Oh, what's that? So we gotta kill her and make a whole movie. And I think, honestly, they didn't... I think they could have done a lot more with Deadpool just wanting to kill himself. Like, I think they could have done a lot more with that. Because that's been in the comics. And, like, there's a whole thing about, like, he hates his life, but he can't die. But, like, they don't really do anything with that here. It's just like, oh, he's sad, I guess. Wah, wah, wah. I like the scene where all the X-Men are just in the room. And Professor X closes the door. I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's not great. I can't. I'm trying to think of other things to talk about. It's not that funny.
There's a lesbian in it.
Oh right, that's it. They really poorly handle having a lesbian character of just like saying she's a lesbian and then barely having her in the movie, and then not.
Kimiko's funny though. Hi, Kimiko.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that.
That's probably one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I even feel like her. I feel like Negasonic Teenage Warhead was a lot funnier in the first film. And in this film, she's just kind of there for, like, 2 scenes. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, any other things to say about Deadpool 2?
Not really.
It's bad. Don't see it. I don't know. It sucks that this is going to be the last R-rated superhero movie we'll get for a while. It sucks that Logan was, like, kind of the only good one. And even that film isn't great.
I would say about Deadpool, I mean, it's not in theaters anymore.
No.
But I would have said don't see it in theaters. But, like, if it's on Netflix, I guess you could watch it.
Yeah, I guess. There are other movies I would recommend above it. But, like, sure, I guess that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. It sucks that now Disney's going to can all this and all this is going to go away. So, I think if it was, like, a stepping stone to better films, I wouldn't be as mad, which is why I'm not that mad about Deadpool, is because ultimately then we did get Logan out of it, which is... It has an okay... It's kind of lacking in the third act, but, like, it's a pretty good film. It's way better than either of these films. So, like, if we got more Logans, I wouldn't be mad about that. Even if it went back and forth from getting, like, a dumb Deadpool movie to, like, a good R-rated, like, adult superhero movie. That would be fine. But now it's just... This is how we end. Not with a bang, but with a baby dick joke. So, yeah. Also, I don't know why you kept T.J. Miller in this movie. Dude's a piece of shit. Why would you? You know. No, but you could have cut him out so easily, or even killed him. Like I thought that was at least going to be the thing. Like maybe they killed him. Like yay, we can at least get a little like oh, it's hooray, T.J. Miller's dead, not in real life, but in this movie. But no, they just kept him in. They just even Ready Player One, at least he's just a voice. But this is just like, nope, it's T.J. Miller. What's he done wrong? Nothing. It's fine. So, anyway. Moving right along. Let's talk real quick about Solo. Let's talk real short. We've done a Solo review.
Yeah.
You should go listen to it. It's really good.
I haven't seen Solo since then, and it was a minute ago. But the same things hold true.
Yeah.
I guess it was somewhat enjoyable. If I had to compare it, I would say it's better than Rogue One because I didn't want to die sitting there watching in theaters. There was a compelling, like, I want to see this through to the end. There's a part in it that you and I think is kind of like super racist.
That the rest of the world is just
and
like,
just no one else sees it. So I guess we're fucking insane.
Well, no,
I don't know.
The thing too, and this is what I wanted to talk about this, is that we've done a review. It's our highest watched video on the channel, but I would like to kind of now go back to, like, we watched it day one as soon as it came out and recorded right after we saw it. So we really had a review in a bubble. We had no outside knowledge to compare it to. Now comparing it to how the rest of the world has reacted to it, it's very weird to me that I wouldn't even say that people don't acknowledge a lot of the stuff that we said about it. They're like, yeah, it's a little weird that, like, she's talking about how being a slave so much, but then they're just like, whatever, and move on. Like, the problems that we thought were, like, really big deals, everyone else is just kind of like,
just moves past.
Yeah, it's just like, no, so what?
Another theme of the blockbusters.
Yeah. And I just think it's really weird because I was honestly a little worried that, like, some big news source was going to have, like, the exact same hot take we had. And, like, I'd be like, man, if only we had been a little more popular, they would have known we said it first. But people said it, and then we're just like, but who cares? Moving on.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it, not even just with the racist stuff, just with, like, people are like, yeah, Darth Maul's in it, so what? It's kind of funny, haha, like, cool, it's Darth Maul, I like seeing Darth Maul.
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah. It is a fascinatingly bad film.
The only person I know who spent any time talking about how fucked that robot scene was is Jenny Nicholson.
Yeah.
Who also had a whole rant about, like, this is fucking bad.
Yeah. And I'll admit that maybe, I don't know how to say this without sounding kind of snobbish, but I think maybe a lot of people can watch movies without caring the social implications of a lot of things. So I think a lot of people can watch Rogue One and maybe even make the connection that they're coding her as, like, a black woman and just be like, whatever.
No, it's a white voice actor, so...
Oh, so it must be... Yeah.
As we all know, no white voice actors have ever portrayed people of color.
No.
Ever.
No, never.
Never.
Never once. No, not any times. No, zero. Absolutely not. I think, honestly, this film... Not everyone loved it. There are a lot of people, I think, out of all of the films we've talked about, this is the one that at least got the most hate. I feel like I can...
it killed the Star Wars anthology.
Yeah,
so.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Right.
But, I don't know. I don't want to say, like, oh, you hate it for the wrong reasons, but I feel like a lot of people who hate it are just, like, fanboys.
Yeah.
Like...
who fucking love Rogue One for some reason.
Yeah.
I still don't get it.
Yeah.
I know it's been like 3 years, and I need to just get over it. But I don't understand what made people like Rogue One, and I don't understand what continues to make people like it.
I don't know.
People fucking love that movie.
I know they do.
It's so bad.
It's really bad. It's really terrible.
Even you take it outside of the context of Star Wars, and like the fanboy thing.
Film.
It's a really bad movie.
Yeah, it's a really bad
It's
film.
fucking bad. Mm-hmm. There's no good characters. The plot is shit. The direction is shit. Mm-hmm. Everything's gray.
Yeah. It's bad.
It's like the worst movie I've seen in like 10 years. Until the movies we watched for this.
Yeah.
Which we're gonna fucking get to.
We're getting to, don't worry. I will admit the one thing Jenny Nicholson pointed out that I don't think... I think Jenny Nicholson's review, not to pat ourselves on the back or anything, but like is probably the most similar review to ours that there is, and even still, she kind of like misses some of the points we make, or she makes points we don't make.
Right.
One of the biggest ones that stuck with me is that what passes for jokes in that movie is just people saying things. Mm-hmm. Like, it is almost a very kind of Big Bang Theory level of humor, quote unquote. Because it is literally like, yeah, it's like, oh, have you ever been to a fucking slosh flinger on fucking Dingo 5?
Right.
And it's like, that's not a joke. You're just saying.
I appreciated Jon Favreau as chef, okay?
I do like Jon Favreau. I'm not gonna deny that one. Jon Favreau, top tier. Top of the top tier.
So dumb. Like, there's no way it was on purpose, but there's also no way you do that without it being on purpose.
Yeah. He's a chef, man. What can I say? You seen Chef? So yeah, I feel bad that everyone's blaming Kathleen Kennedy over this, because it's like, of course, find the one woman that has to do with the Star Wars franchise and fucking burn her at the stake. It's like, I don't know, maybe talk about how Ron Howard has just made a bad film or something.
And totally like fucked a film that was pretty much already complete.
Yeah. So, I mean, and yeah, you can maybe, but it's also unfair, because Kathleen Kennedy doesn't control Star Wars. She's not the only person who has any say on the franchise.
But she takes all the blame for it.
Exactly. It's like, fire Kathleen Kennedy.
Whenever anything good happens, it's the directors and the actors.
Yeah.
And whenever anything bad happens, it's her.
It's Kathleen Kennedy. Like, because she's not George Lucas. She's not coming in and being like, oh, let's put Boba Fett in this video game. Now you have to cancel it.
She's like, yeah, let's set this video game 1,300 years before Darth Maul existed. Yeah. But Darth Maul's the main character still. Figure it out.
Yeah. Like, she's not just doing that shit. Like, though I still think I would have loved to see the Lord and Miller version of Solo, and I think it is a really it's a big shame that we didn't get it. It can't be her sole fault it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Like, it just can't be.
There's no way this movie would ever have been good. I don't think any version of this movie would have been good.
That's fair. It's like you've looked into 3,000 possible timelines.
Right.
How many versions are the Solo movie good? 0. Yeah, so, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just interesting that, though this film, I think, overall is considered a bad film, I feel like it's considered a bad film for the wrong reasons, more or less. Like, I feel like people are just, like, being butthurt fans than they are, like, oh no, this is poorly directed, all the characters are still pretty bad, and it's low-key kind of racist. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not what people are talking about. So, it kind of sucks that...
Someone's ringing the doorbell, fuck that.
Should we answer that? Okay. Because we were so... Like, if you go back and listen to that, we were, like, legitimately concerned. We were legitimately like, what the fuck?
It really, really bad, and I thought it was going to be a big story.
Nope.
And then it just never came up.
And it's not even like they're, like... There's no even hot takes from, like...
The movie's on Netflix already. Maybe we should go back and watch it again and see if it's really as bad as I remember.
We could do a review. A re-review.
A re-review?
Yeah. A review.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that this film ultimately has kind of got shat on, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird one, man. I find myself thinking about Solo a lot, to be honest. Like,
you can't stop.
Like, I find myself, like, just at random times just being like, but why Donald Glover owning a slave?
Yeah, like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
And the timing on it's so weird, too.
Yeah. Why did they just decide his name was Solo? Because that's Han Solo.
That whole airport scene is so fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to move on from this.
Okay. Solo's bad, but I don't know. Maybe watch it. I don't know.
I mean, you can watch it as like a study of like how to fuck a movie up.
Yeah.
I guess.
I feel, and I guess I kind of said this, but out of all of the bad movies we're going to talk about, this is the only one I feel like, though I came out being like, wow, this was really bad and I hate it, it didn't make me want to kill myself.
That's the enigma behind Solo. There was racism in that movie. There was Darth Maul in that movie. There was a lot of bad shit.
Yeah.
And it was still, in some aspect, enjoyable. When I walked out of the theater, I still went, it was kind of worth the money.
Yeah, it did make me want to kill myself, and I do find myself in like a not even a fun way, but in an intellectual way thinking about it. And like, I think this, like you said, this could be a film studies movie. This could be a movie that would be interesting to talk about. This could be a movie that's interesting to analyze in film criticism and in film review.
And especially, you could spend so long looking at what parts of the movie were and weren't reshot.
Exactly.
Trying to figure out, like, whose vision different parts were and stuff.
I maintain that people say like 80% of that film was reshot. I maintain 100% of that film was reshot. I don't think we maybe see a single... But I think
some of the script was left in.
I think, yeah. Like, maybe some of the scenes were from the original script, but I think almost all of that...
I'm pretty sure the whole thing was reshot.
Yeah,
There's, no way.
I think it's just, they made a movie, they made a second movie, and they just never released the first. And that's the other thing that really pisses me off, is because it's fucking Disney, and because it's fucking Star Wars, they'll fucking keep that shit behind locked doors.
We're never gonna see any of that.
Forever. It's not like, oh, alternative cut in the DVD, here's what could have been. Maybe in 50, 100 years, there'll be some article of like, 5 seconds of the original Solo movie has been released.
Yeah, I don't know. It would just be so interesting to see what it was like.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's just never going to be that.
Like, release an assembly cut, at least. It's like, you could be like, oh, like, unfinished. Don't put special effects. Don't put CGI.
Don't put effects. It doesn't even, like, have to be in order or anything. I just want to see.
Yeah. Just release, like, a work print, work and copy, but they won't do that. They'll never do that. So it's like, we'll never know. And all we can do is speculate. And God knows everyone who worked on that first version probably signed 1,010,000 contracts saying they can't talk about any of it. Yeah. So we'll never know anything about that film.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
All right. Next.
I'm trying to find any movies. We're left with the big ones now. So let's talk about Jurassic World.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jurassic World, mostly because I don't have a lot to say about Jurassic World.
Okay, I do.
I know you do.
Yes.
Can I do my thing and just get it over?
Go first.
I've seen Jurassic Park 1.
Uh-huh.
I actually saw it again pretty recently.
Oh, really?
I don't think it's a very good movie.
No, and that's what I was kind of gonna say, is that Jurassic Park as a franchise is kind of bad.
It's just 5 bad movies.
Yeah. I think that 2 and 3 get shit on a lot more than they should, because they're not as bad as people say, and they're honestly almost the same quality as 1.
I don't understand what makes Jurassic Park 1 a good movie. It's, like, the structure of it doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. It is literally an hour and a half of a second act, and then the movie ends.
Yeah.
There isn't even a third act to that movie.
No, there really isn't.
It's so much, like, plot stuff happens at the very end and just isn't resolved or talked about. Mm-hmm. It's just not good. Yeah. No one's good in it.
Samuel Jackson's pretty good in it. Newman's pretty good in it. There are contained scenes in that film which I like. Like, I like the T-Rex scene. I like the Newman scene where, like, he's in the car and the thing sprays him. There are contained scenes. I like the scene where they're getting chased by the Velociraptors. As a whole, it's a mess and a bad film. Maybe not a bad film. Maybe that's even being too harsh. It's not as good as everyone says it is.
It's not like a classic. No. It's not a masterpiece.
No, it's not that great. I mean, Jeff Goldblum's pretty funny.
Jeff Goldblum, I mean, he's the god. Yeah. No one could beat him.
Yeah. I think 2 and 3 are only a very, very, very little amount of worse. 2, mainly just because it tries to do too much, and 3 because it tries to do too little. What?
Young Vince Vaughn.
Yes, Vince Vaughn is in it for 5 minutes. Yeah. There's, what's her name is also in it. The one actress who's in a lot of movies. Whatever. I would say I like 2 and 3 better than any of the Jurassic World films.
And I didn't see the first Jurassic World either. But basically, what this movie boils down to is, I watched Jurassic World after watching Infinity War. Mm-hmm. And so it gets like a 4 out of 10 for me because it wasn't Infinity War.
That's fair.
so it's just, you know, like a fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so aggressively, neutrally not good for most of the movie that I just don't care that much.
Mm-hmm.
The only things that I'm like, were great to me about that movie are like memes. Like, there's a scene at the end where a velociraptor jumps out of an explosion. And that's really fucking funny, because it's so stupid. But other than that, it's just a nothing movie. Except the main premise of the movie, which is fucking ridiculous. It's like, the way everyone acts in that movie is how I feel every time we talk about a movie and no one agrees with us. Like, Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I relate to his character in this movie so much, because he's just like, these animals will kill us.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be saving them.
Yeah.
Because they shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I've experienced this 4 fucking times,
Yeah.
and I can tell you, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what an asshole.
Yeah. Anything else to say before I rant?
Go ahead. Wow, guys, these are a lot of movies, and we can't fit it all into just one episode.
That's right, Kyle. We sure can't. In fact, we are overflowing with cum and movies in this podcast. So we gotta do a little bit of a special little twofer this time.
So make sure to stay tuned for episode 2 of the BlockBuster Spectacular.
Excuse me, it was the big bad BlockBuster breakdown?
I apologize. The big bad BlockBuster breakdown.
So, it sounds like the dog has been enjoying it, certainly. But, guys, if you can't wait a week, then try listening to some other episodes at Real Unknown, or following us on Facebook at Real Unknown, or Twitter at Real_Unknown. And if you want to email us all your hopes and dreams of what other movies we're going to talk about, you can email us at realunknownpod@gmail.com. Any other things the viewers should know, Kyle?
No, I think that's it. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for next week.
Yeah, guys. Yep, you can cut that little part off. All right.
Probably can.
Get down with the victim. We both know you need them. You're stuck in the middle of all irrelevance. And your heart is beating, 'cause you know that you gotta get out of the middle and rise to the top now. When you've made it, won't you tell me what to do? 'Cause I'm playing it all wrong. When you made it, won't you tell me what to do? 'Cause I'm playing it all wrong. You can't fight the friction, so you can't take the pressure, so it's not time to be strong. You can't fight the friction, so ease it off. And get into the system. We both know you need one. The tip of the needle is taking over you, and your heart is beating, 'cause you know that you gotta get out of the middle and rise to the top now. When you've made it, won't you tell me what to do? 'Cause I'm playing it all wrong. When you made it, won't you tell me what to do? 'Cause I'm playing it all wrong. You can't fight the friction, so you can't take the pressure, so it's not time to be strong. You can't fight the friction, so ease it off. Oh, why can't you let go like a bird in the snow? This is no place to build your home. You can't fight the friction, so